What happens if you cut out added sugar for just 30 days? The truth is, your body starts changing within days, but not without a fight. At first, your brain protests. It's used to sugar. It depends on it. Sugar triggers a dopamine release, the same reward system linked to addictive behavior. So when you stop consuming added sugar, your brain chemistry goes into withdrawal. You may feel tired, irritable, foggy. This is because your body is breaking a habit, neurologically and physically. Studies show that sugar affects the brain in ways similar to certain addictive substances. By day 3, you may experience headaches, mood swings, and intense cravings. That's your dopamine levels crashing. By day 5 to 7, the cravings often peak. Your body is recalibrating. During this time, many people also experience fatigue. It feels like a slump, but it's your blood sugar stabilizing. Added sugar causes spikes and crashes. When it's gone, your insulin has a chance to normalize. That's when you start to notice the first real shift. Mental clarity begins to improve. Your brain isn't fighting roller coasters anymore. It's starting to function with steady energy. Your mood starts to even out. Research shows that people who consume less added sugar tend to report fewer symptoms of anxiety and depression. Less sugar equals fewer emotional crashes. Now look at your skin. High sugar intake is linked to increased acne, inflammation, and dull skin. One reason? A process called glycation. Sugar binds to collagen and elastin, which are the proteins that keep your skin firm and smooth. Glycation breaks them down, leading to wrinkles and sagging over time. After 2 to 3 weeks without added sugar, many people report fewer breakouts, less redness, and a noticeable glow. That's because your inflammation is dropping. Sugar is inflammatory. It elevates cytokines in the blood, which contribute to skin and joint issues. Once you remove the constant source, your skin can start to heal. Your gut starts to change too. Added sugar feeds harmful gut bacteria. This throws off your microbiome and leads to digestive issues, bloating, and fatigue. When you eliminate sugar, beneficial bacteria begin to thrive again. You reduce gut inflammation and restore balance. Many people report smoother digestion and reduced bloating within 2 to 3 weeks. Sleep also improves. Sugar can disrupt the production of melatonin, the hormone that helps you sleep, and spike cortisol, your stress hormone. Without sugar, your hormone cycles begin to regulate. People fall asleep faster, stay asleep longer, and wake up more rested. Your immune system benefits too. Chronically high sugar levels impair white blood cell function. One study found that sugar can suppress immune response for hours after consumption. Cutting sugar strengthens your immune system, especially with better sleep and gut health. Now let's talk energy. In the beginning, without sugar you may feel less energized, but this is temporary. By the end of the month, your energy becomes more stable. No more 3 p.m. crashes. That's because your body is no longer dependent on quick sugar spikes for energy. It starts to access stored fat more efficiently. You may even notice fat loss, especially around the belly. This is because reducing sugar lowers insulin levels, which allows your body to access fat for fuel. Weight loss isn't guaranteed, but if you remove processed sugar and don't replace it with other high-calorie foods, it's common to lose 3 to 10 pounds in a month. Let's be clear, you don't have to eliminate all sugar. Natural sugars in fruits, vegetables, and whole foods are not the issue. It's the added sugar, the kind found in sodas, pastries, sauces, flavored yogurts, cereals, and ultra-processed snacks, that causes the biggest harm. When you stop consuming those, the changes add up fast. Your brain becomes clearer. Your skin becomes brighter. Your energy becomes more consistent. Your digestion improves. Your sleep deepens, and you regain control over cravings. One of the most powerful benefits? You reset your taste buds. After 30 days without added sugar, fruit tastes sweeter. Processed snacks taste overpowering. You become more sensitive to real flavors and less dependent on hyperstimulation. This isn't about perfection, it's about awareness. Knowing sugar's effects helps you make better choices. 1 month is enough to feel a difference. For some, it's the beginning of lasting change. Science doesn't promise miracles, but it does show consistent patterns. Cutting added sugar reduces risk of obesity, type 2 diabetes, fatty liver disease, heart disease, acne, and inflammation. It can improve focus, gut health, and hormone balance. It can change how you feel, look, and think. That's not hype. That's what peer-reviewed studies in journals like the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, JAMA, and Nature have shown. 1 month, no added sugar, and a completely different you on the other side. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to start. Cut the sugar. Watch what happens. You won't believe how good you were supposed to feel all along. Let's go deeper into what's really happening inside your brain when sugar disappears from your daily intake. Your brain is a complex machine. It runs on glucose, but that doesn't mean it needs added sugar. When you eat whole foods, your body breaks down carbohydrates into glucose at a steady rate. But added sugars? They flood your system fast, overloading your brain's reward centers. This creates a cycle, a hit of pleasure, followed by a crash, followed by cravings. It's not just willpower at work, it's biochemistry. In fact, brain scans show that sugar lights up the same regions as cocaine and heroin. This isn't exaggeration, functional MRI studies confirm it. So when you cut sugar, your brain feels like something's missing. But here's the turning point, your brain adapts. By the second week, your dopamine receptors begin to recalibrate. You no longer crave that artificial high. Instead, you start finding pleasure in natural sources. Fruit, exercise, music, conversation. This is neuroplasticity in action, your brain rewiring itself. At the same time, your prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for focus and decision-making, gets stronger. Studies show that high sugar intake is associated with cognitive decline over time. By eliminating added sugar, you reduce the risk of developing Alzheimer's and other neurodegenerative conditions. This isn't theory, it's observable change. Now let's shift to your metabolism. Sugar causes insulin spikes. Insulin tells your body to store fat. When insulin levels are high, fat burning is shut off. By eliminating sugar, insulin drops and your body can start using stored fat for fuel. This is why people who eliminate added sugar often lose weight, even without reducing calories. Your body becomes more metabolically flexible, able to switch between burning carbs and fats efficiently. This makes fasting easier. It makes energy more stable. No more sudden drops in blood sugar that leave you shaky or lightheaded. Instead, you feel balanced, energized. Let's talk about the liver. Added sugar, especially fructose, puts strain on your liver. It gets converted into fat and stored as triglycerides. Too much fructose can lead to non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, NAFLD. By cutting added sugar, you reduce liver fat accumulation. Your liver gets a chance to recover, regenerate, and function optimally. And your cholesterol levels? They often improve too. Sugar raises LDL, the bad cholesterol, and lowers HDL, the good kind. In just 30 days without added sugar, lipid panels often shift for the better. Now, digestion. When sugar intake is high, you're more likely to experience acid reflux, bloating, and irregular bowel movements. Remove the sugar, and your gut becomes more alkaline. Beneficial bacteria increase, and symptoms like gas, cramps, and discomfort start to fade. You absorb nutrients more efficiently. You feel lighter. And your mood? Sugar and depression are closely linked. A massive study published in Scientific Reports found that high sugar consumption is associated with a significantly increased risk of depression. The constant cycle of emotional highs and lows leads to inner chaos. But when your blood sugar stabilizes, your mood does too. You're less reactive, more patient, more emotionally steady. You might even feel more joy. Why? Because serotonin, the feel-good hormone, is largely produced in your gut. When your gut health improves, your serotonin levels do too. Better gut is better brain. And don't forget your joints. Sugar contributes to inflammation, especially in people with arthritis or chronic pain. After cutting sugar for a month, many people report reduced joint stiffness and morning pain. You move easier, you recover faster. This is especially true if you're pairing your sugar-free month with hydration and sleep. Let's revisit skin. Glycation isn't just a cosmetic issue, it's a sign of cellular aging. When you eliminate sugar, you reduce oxidative stress and increase your skin's elasticity. People report brighter eyes, tighter skin, and fewer breakouts. In clinical trials, sugar reduction has been linked to slower biological aging. So yes, cutting sugar can make you look younger. And there's more. Your hormones begin to balance. Excess sugar increases estrogen in women and suppresses testosterone in men. By reducing sugar, both genders move toward hormonal equilibrium. That means fewer mood swings, better reproductive health, and improved libido. Yes, quitting sugar can even improve your sex drive. Because when your energy, confidence, sleep, and hormones improve, so does everything else. And if you're worried about giving up sweetness forever, don't be. You can still enjoy desserts. You just start to enjoy healthier versions. Fruit becomes a treat again. You might discover raw honey, dates, or dark chocolate in moderation. You no longer need that mid-afternoon donut to feel alive. You're no longer trapped. That's the power of 30 days. The physical changes are real. The mental clarity is noticeable. Most of all, you finally feel in control again. You're no longer controlled by hidden influences or powerful urges. You eat with intention, not impulse. And that, more than anything, is freedom. Not every day is easy, but every day gets better. You'll learn new recipes. You'll surprise yourself with discipline. You'll remember what natural hunger feels like. You'll trust your body more. Each day you say no to the addiction, your body rewards you. 30 days. That's all it takes to remember what real energy feels like. Now let's talk about cravings, the part that scares most people. What happens when the cookie jar is no longer an option? At first it's hard. Your brain keeps asking for its fix. You walk past a bakery and smell pastries and your brain lights up. But over time, something shifts. By week 2 or 3, the urges lose power. This is called extinction, the brain unlearning a behavior loop. Stick with it, and your brain will start craving better things, quicker than you think. You don't need to fight cravings forever. They fade when they're no longer fed. And when your body starts thriving without sugar, the motivation grows. You realize you feel better not just physically, but mentally. You think clearer, you feel calmer. When you control your cravings, real confidence kicks in. You're no longer reacting, you're choosing. Now let's look at blood pressure. High sugar intake is linked to elevated blood pressure. Not just because of weight gain, but because sugar damages blood vessels. It reduces nitric oxide production, critical for vessel flexibility. Cut sugar and your nitric oxide rises, relaxing your vessels and boosting your blood flow. Many people see measurable drops in blood pressure within 30 days, especially if paired with hydration and magnesium-rich foods. Now let's talk about the pancreas. This little organ is responsible for insulin production. When overloaded with sugar, the pancreas works overtime. Over time, this can lead to insulin resistance, a major factor in metabolic syndrome and type 2 diabetes. By removing added sugar, you reduce this burden. The pancreas starts to function more efficiently, and insulin sensitivity improves, meaning your body handles carbohydrates better. Even occasional indulgences become less damaging because your body is better regulated. Let's revisit fat loss for a moment. The area most sensitive to insulin and cortisol spikes? Your belly. When sugar is high, cortisol, your stress hormone, goes up. Cortisol tells your body to store fat, especially around the midsection. That's why belly fat is strongly linked to stress and sugar intake. Cutting sugar reduces both insulin and cortisol. That's why waistlines often shrink, even without doing more cardio. Your body is simply storing less and burning more. Let's go deeper into your immune system. Your white blood cells have a sweet tooth, literally. Their ability to engulf pathogens drops by up to 40% after consuming sugar. This means that right after a sugary snack, your immune defense is compromised. Not forever, but for hours. Repeatedly compromising it weakens your ability to fight off viruses and bacteria. When you remove sugar, white blood cell activity improves. T-cell production becomes more efficient. Inflammatory markers like CRP drop. You're not just avoiding illness, you're building resilience, and that includes your oral health. Sugar feeds the bacteria that cause tooth decay and gum disease. Within days of eliminating sugar, you may notice less plaque buildup and fresher breath. Your dentist will notice too. And let's not forget your bones. High sugar intake increases calcium excretion. This means that over time, sugar can weaken bones. It also increases inflammation, which affects joint cartilage. By cutting sugar, you retain more minerals, like calcium, magnesium, and phosphorus. This protects your bone density over time. And what about your vision? Studies have shown that chronically high blood sugar levels can damage the tiny blood vessels in your eyes. This leads to blurry vision and increases the risk of diabetic retinopathy. Cutting sugar improves blood vessel health and helps protect long-term vision. Now let's get into the emotional rewards. After a full month, you're not just physically healthier, you're mentally lighter. Your relationship with food changes. You stop labeling yourself as weak or undisciplined. You realize you were never the problem. The system was. A system designed to addict you to flavors that hijack your biology. Once you're free, you don't just feel better, you feel powerful. This is why many say cutting sugar isn't a diet, it's a revolution. You don't need to count every calorie. You just stop giving your body what harms it, and start giving it what heals it. And the results are undeniable. You sleep better. You think clearer. You move easier. You look better. And most importantly, you feel aligned. Your body and mind finally on the same team. You're not fighting cravings, you're fueling your life. And it all started with one choice. 1 month, no added sugar. And everything changed. But here's the secret most people miss. You don't have to be perfect. Even reducing added sugar by 80% can transform your health. Even replacing soda with sparkling water or dessert with fruit makes a difference. You don't need shame, you need awareness. You don't need guilt, you need guidance. And that's what this journey is about. Reclaiming your biology. Reclaiming your mood. Your skin. Your metabolism. Your mental clarity. Your energy. And your freedom. Subscribe for more healthy challenges and comment below. How did you overcome your sugar cravings?